Welcome, New Bedford. We're back discussing topics with the at-large candidates and some of the ward candidates and, of course, the mayor candidates for the October 1st election. In studio now, I have William Brad Markey. He is your incumbent city councilor for Ward 1. So welcome to the studio.
Well, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure being here.
So I've been asking each candidate, so how do you define the city council, personally?
How do I define it personally? Okay. Well,
No, how do you define the city council as a body?
As a group,
Yep.
as a body. Well, I'll tell you, obviously, it's my first time there. It's been 2 years. I've enjoyed it. We work well together, I think. I consider them all my friends. There can be times, things go back and forth, and as they told me, you might get in the council chamber and you go at it hot and heavy, but at the end of the day, you come out and you go out and be friends again and do the work of the city, because that's basically what it's all about, is getting done what needs to get done for the city of New Bedford, to continue it's on its path. So I enjoy it, and like I said, I consider my council as all my friends.
We'll start off with some of the personal questions. So you could just tell me, are you married with kids?
I am, yep. My wife's Jackie. I have 2 daughters, Madison and Taylor. Actually, Madison just graduated from University of Hartford with a physical therapy degree. Well, pre-physical therapy. She's got 3 more years. You need a doctorate out of there. So we've got 3 more years there. Then I have another daughter who's a finance major. And they're both doing great. We obviously grew up in the city, grew up in Ward 1, went to New Bedford Public Schools. And I will tell you, they thrived in New Bedford Public Schools. I'll tell people, actually, I think they did too good a job, because they got into every college that they applied to. And I spent a little bit more money than I was looking to. But again, and they had the great training. When they got in there, they hit the road running. And I guess a little bragging rights, both have 4.0 grade point averages. So.
How about occupation?
Okay, I'm a sales rep, actually, for a textile company. They're based out of South Carolina. Actually, I just came back from a sales meeting there, got in last night. What we do is we sell synthetic fibers and yarns to the textile trade, into weavers, braiders, people make rope, people make papers. We're a well-diversified company. It's been around since 1898. We're actually probably one of the original recyclers back in the day. We would take, and I say we, I wasn't with them. I might look it, but I wasn't. Back in 1898, where they take wool clippings and process it back into wool, sell it back in so they could blend it off to keep costs down. So that's what I do. Been doing that for over 30 years now. Okay,
so we'll move on to the political questions.
Sure.
Why are you running for re-election?
Well, one, I enjoy it. I really like it. I originally ran because I wanted to basically make a difference. I see the city going forward, and I wanted to be part of that going forward. So that's why I did it the first time. It was a learning experience. Actually, it was a big learning curve, how it actually worked, how I thought the city was run and how it actually was were 2 different things. Like with budgets and what you can and cannot do with a budget. So my feeling right now is, I've had those 2 years. Like I said, I've learned a lot, and I want to take what I've learned, and I really think I could take that from here and then just really parlay it into, some bigger things.
So you were, it's your first term. You've done 1 term now.
Correct.
What would you say is your number 1 accomplishment as a Ward 1 councilor?
Number 1 accomplishment. Okay, well, there's a couple of things we're working on right now. I mean, accomplishment, what we did was, you could think about when we're working on budgets and such with the streets, the problems with the streets. And I get a lot of complaints in Ward 1 potholes. So, but it was working with other councilors where we doubled the amount of monies that we're putting into the, to do road construction, actually to take care of the roads, that type of thing. The other one was the property ordinance, for distressed properties, where we have a little more teeth in the ordinance now, where if there's people, so you can, if you don't want to be sitting living next door to somebody with, a mess in the yard or rodents or anything like that, well, we can go in there now and the police can get involved after X amount, you can give them citations. And again, it's a quality of life issue, so those were the 2 of them there.
If you get reelected, what's your priority for 2020?
Going forward, 2020? Yeah. Well, one of the things that we're working on that now, of course, it's big in Ward 1, is the biosolids in the industrial park. We're working on that now. Personally, it's a recycling business down there, and we need recycling, but the processed biosolids, I'm not sure that is the place for it.
Actually, and you're talking apparel products?
That would be the company down there, yeah. But it'd be also, we're looking to put an ordinance in at the council, was for biosolids in general, the process. So that's where we would look to try to, do that whole thing there. I think there are places for it. I'm thinking the industrial park, not thinking, I know the industrial park is not the place for it. So that would be one, and another big one is Braley Road, Pulaski School, with all that traffic. My understanding, that's been like that forever. I've lived out there, I've driven down there all the time, so I understand what it's like. So there's two phases right now. What we're doing now, we've actually got no parking on both sides of the street. And it seems to be working, but it's still a work in progress in how we get the flow of traffic. But right now, there's only one entrance to Pulaski School. If there's ever an emergency or a situation, you can't get in any other way if there was on a Braley Road. So what we're looking at, and they've talked about this for a few years now, is to put another access road coming in off of Acushnet Avenue. So two things, you can reroute the buses and try to get an easier flow, but also in an emergency, you can get vehicles in and out.
Anytime I do a poll on New Bedford Guide for residents in New Bedford, what's their number one priority? It's always public safety.
Yeah.
Do you have a public safety plan for 2020?
Well,
Or would you, anything that you would, next 2 years, if you get reelected, what would your priority be for public safety?
well, the main one right now would be the Braley Road for public safety. And right now, of course, we're building the new center down in the south end, for the police and the fire. But that one's in the works, but making sure the funding was there for that.
Okay. Economy. So obviously economic development impacts so many things in the city of New Bedford. On average, the city of New Bedford has half the income of the rest of the state, roughly $36,000 to $37,000. Massachusetts is like $65,000. What can we do to bring in higher paid jobs, not just any jobs, but higher paid jobs in the city of New Bedford?
Well, obviously, it's industry and it's manufacturing. I'm in manufacturing, a sales rep for a manufacturing company, and to me, that's what we need, manufacturing. To me, manufacturing is the base, and then the pyramid goes up from there. A lot of times, if it's service economies, you've got the top of the pyramid here, and your base is going up that way. So how do we get jobs in here? Right now, we've got basically, I think, one parcel of land in the industrial park, and that could be under agreement. And once that's gone, we're full at the industrial park. So we need to find other areas that we could bring in industry that way. Looking around, revitalizing what we have, old mill buildings and such, although I think they've looked at a lot of that, and to really bring in manufacturing, some of them just aren't conducive doing that. We've got the staging of the wind power down on our port. I think that would be a big part. You'd be bringing a lot of different parts of the economy together on that there. So that would be, I think, one of the bigger ones. And also looking around to see if we could find other areas, again, for bringing in industry.
Okay, if you're just tuning in, I'm talking to William Brad Markey. He is your incumbent Ward 1 Councilor. If you have a question for him, throw it in the comments, and I'll throw it out to him. Next question. So this is something I've been asking it's a more of a philosophical question. Do you believe that addiction is a choice or a disease?
It's interesting. And not to sit on a fence, but I think it could be both. I mean, I know people who are addicted, and I know people maybe have done the same thing who aren't addicted. So I really think everybody is different, so that could be a disease, right? Different how your body takes on things. Also, some people might say it's a choice because you started doing it, so you've got the ball rolling. And then I think it affects people differently. Some people can do something, and maybe it doesn't affect them as bad. Again, alcoholism, right? I know people who drink. I know people who become alcoholics. I know other people who don't drink, and they can quit tomorrow. So in that aspect, I mean, it could be looking at it as a disease, or I don't know so much a disease, but how your body is wired and how your body takes to something.
How about, you think the city of New Bedford is doing enough to fight the opioid crisis?
I do. I mean, if you look at, we have great people out there, the police department, the fire department, and what they're doing. I mean, we're making sure they're funded for Narcan. And I know there's outreach programs. When people do get calls on that, they'll go there, they'll try to get them help. So I do think, now, could we do more? Probably. I mean, maybe these more outreach, programs with the people themselves or their families, a different way to get everybody involved. Because I know it's very difficult. You try to have one person, you need a network. So is it whether just outside network, like the Bedford and our police and our fire and our EMTs, or the network would be bringing actually the families together and helping out. So, I mean, I think we do a good job. I think we have great people in the city who do this, but obviously, anything can be done, increased, so.
Recreational marijuana. It's been legal in the state for a while. It seems that New Bedford's going to be the last major city south of Boston to get a recreational shop. At best, we might get one in 2020. Do you think we move too slow, too fast, or just right?
Well, people say we move too slow. Now, I wasn't involved with it my first term because that was a limited committee. Now we're all involved in the committee. But I think what we did was right. I think what you do is you got to, I wouldn't want to see us rush into something, because once you've opened up something, you can't say, oh, no, I want to take it back. So I think what we've done it slow, and again, people may not appreciate that, but I think once we have everything in place and as this thing opens up, we can say we've done it right, and I feel comfortable and confident that we won't have any back issues that could come back and haunt us.
I learned, I think yesterday, Ian was saying, Ian Abreu, other at-large councilor, was saying that there's a cap of 8 marijuana right now. Are you happy with a cap, no cap, or numbers should be higher or lower?
No, I agree with the cap. I mean, it's all, they've looked at it and they figured this out and, based it on that. And so I think 8, I mean, to me, it's a destination spot. I mean, so, you don't need one on every corner. I mean, people are going to go where it is. So, I mean, I think 8 is a good number based on the city and where we are.
I don't think a day goes by when it's political season in Bedford that someone doesn't talk to me about their high property taxes. Last year, property taxes went up $220 per resident. I believe it's $20 per business. Do you see an end in sight to raising property taxes, or is that something that's city councilors have no control over? Well, they do control the rate, right?
Right.
But you can match the rate and still have property taxes.
Exactly.
Right?
Unfortunately, I don't think, tax, I mean, trust me, I live, where I live, and like a lot of us live, taxes are high. And when I first ran, I said, well, let's look into this and see what we can do. Well, the problem is, with 85% of our budget, we can't touch it. You can touch 15%, 85 you can't. I mean, that's your pensions, that's your, I mean, when we do budgets, a lot of departments aren't asking for anything more but just the raises that have already been negotiated. So you're paying for all that. You have pensions, you have health insurance, that go up all the time. So that's never going to slow down. And then plus what you have on top of that is home valuations continue to go up, and they're going up a little bit more. I mean, last year, commercial didn't go up as much, so there was a bigger gap between the residential. This year, I think they're more in line, so I don't think you're going to see that kind of an increase like we did before. But that's what it is, and also the pensions, we're funding them, plus trying to get caught up on them as well. So what we're trying to do, and like people say, well, just cut, but, a lot of what we can cut is that 15%, but those are the people who, plow your streets. Do you cut there? I mean, what we're doing now is there's been deferred maintenance in the city for the longest time. Last year, we took a tour, and I think it was the library. The windowsills are rotted out. So we need to fix these things, and that's where a lot of this is going. So a lot of the money that we spend, it's not these departments are frivolous, not that these departments are looking for a lot. Basically, they're looking for what they need, number one, to get the job done, and to do it efficiently. And I think if you can do the job efficiently, then, it will save you some money. So
non-discretionary spending is like vast majority of the budget. On the discretionary part, is there ways to make some cuts, or do you think more revenue is needed to offset the property tax?
Well, I mean, ideally, more revenue is needed. Now, could you cut? Absolutely, you can cut. But you're talking layoffs, and now you're taking away from the services of the city. Because I can tell you right now, if you look at it, none of your departments, all your departments could use more people, but they do with less just to get the job done. So I don't know if you could cut any more that way. I mean, I've read some things out there on social media, like the purse strings are going to be drawn tight. Well, it's difficult because, first of all, the stuff that you have to pay for is going to continue to move up. And then the only other way to cut it is actually cut people and cut departments, or, cut this or cut that, which I think is just difficult. But I do hope as we get more industry in here, more things happen, again, that will try to limit us as far as, these tax increases. And I think this year, we should have a pretty easy time with it, easy year.
What are your thoughts on the residency waivers? So the mayor finds someone qualified that lives outside the city, they have to go to the city council to approve. It seems like the city council always approves them. Do you think rightfully so, or is there a way to, what I find is maybe the jobs aren't advertised enough to the city, people in the city? I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, because we've been going through this. Even when I first started on the council, there was talk about these waivers and trying to do something about it, because, you know, they do. My opinion is I leave it up to the department heads. They know what they need. They know the people that are best qualified. I would hope that it's out there. When we do ask those questions, well, where do you post it? They post it on websites. They put it out there. They post it in the newspaper. So I do think they post out there well enough. But a lot of times your jobs where we grant the waivers are kind of specialized jobs. Not everybody has those, you know, the ability to do those type of jobs. And that's why we do them. So I'd leave it up to the department heads if they think the person is suitable and qualified, and I would hope that they take the best candidate. And again, I let them do their job. So I agree to the waivers, and then you almost wonder if, do we need a waivers? Because you're right, usually we approve them, you know, so.
Okay, next question. So panhandling. There's been, the mayor's office approach was to kind of put the spike cobblestones,
Yep,
put some of
yep.
those barriers. City council's approach has been put signs above their head.
Yeah.
Are we at the end of our rope, or is there more we can do, or do you think it's a freedom of speech thing and we've done enough?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one, too. We try to do it. I mean, I look at some of these out there, especially on 18, the traffic zipping around, they're in the middle. I think it's a safety issue for a lot of them, in the middle of Route 6. I would hate for somebody to get hurt or get killed out there doing that. And then you wonder, you know, they're out there, some of them truly need it, and you would hope, or you would wish they would take that help, because we are out there trying to, you know, we can bring them to shelters, we can do this, we can do that. Some of people say it's, you know, a mental illness issue, and of course, we don't have a lot to offer in mental illness. The state's cutting all that, you know, we don't have places. So, I mean, it's a difficult one, and then others you just don't know if they're just out there, it's a way to earn some money, and that they might have alcohol problems, drug problems. So again, being out there, that's why we put the sign up. We can donate to those agencies that would help these people out if they wanted to go for the help. Again, to me, it's a safety thing. I hate to see those people out there, but I wish we could find a way to better do it. I mean, and maybe personally, I'm looking, I don't see as many today as I used to, but then maybe back in the day when it was a big topic, you noticed it more, so.
Final question on the candidate questions. The public housing. There's thousands of families on a waiting list for New Bedford public housing.
Right.
Are you for status quo, adding more, reducing?
Well, no, I mean, adding more. I think people need a place to live. I mean, you know, if that would help a lot of, whether it would help our homeless population or anything else like that, I think we should look at it and definitely, you know, add more. So everybody should have a decent or a good place to live, to raise a family. And so I would, you know, be on that side to add more to public housing.
Okay, so do you have a website, social media presence, people can find you online?
Actually, yeah, I do. I do have a Facebook page, William Brad Markey.
No website?
No, not yet, but I might after you mention that.
No, I think candidates probably find more conversation happens on social media.
Yeah.
Website's kind of a one-way informational kind of thing.
It is, yeah. And unfortunately, I guess I straddled that when a lot of it, because my daughters are more social media than I. I'm learning, I'm getting better at it, you know, so, but I'm maybe a little behind the curve.
Okay, so October 1st, election. We actually have availability. You can actually vote before the actual election. People you can go and get absentee ballots at the City Hall starting later this month. I believe the 20. Yeah, you can actually vote on the Saturday before.
Yeah.
But you can also walk in and get an absentee ballot, and if you're not going to be able to make it. So I would definitely, no excuse. You should be able to vote on October 1st. The winners will move on to November 5th, so put that on your calendar as well. But thanks for coming in.
Okay,
William
thanks
Brad
for having
Markey. He's your incumbent for Ward 1, and he's running for re-election. Thank you.
Thank you.